Robert Pattinson's role as Batman has been full of controversy, and it's completely divided the fan base. One of the main reasons for this is that many say Robert didn't put in the same level of effort into his physical prep as Ben Affleck and Christian Bale did for their roles as the Dark Knight. Now, while I agree that Bale and Affleck's physiques certainly looked more appropriate for the role of Batman, Robert still looked great considering the fact that he built his body without spending very much time in the gym, seeing as most of his training was done during lockdown. He proved that it's 100% possible to build a great athletic physique while only training from home, something that we're going to explain exactly how you can do step by step later in the video when I give you your very own full free at-home Batman training program. But there was something huge besides the lockdown that stood in the way of Robert's path to getting buff enough to beat up mentally ill clowns. And that was a mental illness of his own, one that you yourself most likely also struggle with, and it's called body dysmorphia. Body dysmorphia is a mental health condition where you can't stop focusing on one or more perceived defects or flaws in your appearance. But the trick with body dysmorphia is that you're the only one that actually notices these small/non-existent defects or flaws. Body dysmorphia is a bodybuilder that always thinks he's small no matter how juicy he gets. Body dysmorphia is the beautiful girl that thinks she's ugly because she has a teeny bit of acne that no one else can see. And body dysmorphia is also a sparkly lover boy vampire that every girl in the world wanted to turn them into a member of the undead back in 2008. That's right, Robert Pattinson has struggled with body dysmorphia his whole life, especially when he's working on a role where there's a lot of focus put on how his body looks, like in Twilight or The Batman. At many points in Robert Pattinson's life, he's experienced extreme anxiety around the fact that he doesn't have a six-pack, and that he isn't as jacked as a lot of other big Hollywood actors. And to make matters worse, he hates training in the gym. So when you package this disdain for working out with an intense desire to improve the look of your body, you start doing some silly, desperate things in order to try and transform your physique. In a recent interview, Robert says he's tried pretty much every fitness fad out there, except for the one that actually works, being consistent with your training and diet. He's done keto because he heard that meant he would just get to eat cheese platters and charcuterie boards all day. He's done the all potato diet, I'm assuming because he's a really big fan of the movie The Martian with Matt Damon. And he's done a bunch of other stupid fad workout and diet plans that will do nothing to actually permanently transform your body. Now, body dysmorphia isn't something that's unique to sparkly celebrities like Robert. Nowadays, more and more people are suffering from body dysmorphia because of how ingrained social media has become in all of our lives. Our social media feeds are flooded with fake natties, TikTok gym lighting experts, and people with insane genetics who work tirelessly day in and day out to look as good as possible. And because these people look the best, we engage with their posts non-stop, which push them to the top of all of our YouTube, Instagram, and for you boomers out there, MySpace feeds. Meaning that if you're into fitness, this is pretty much all you're seeing on your social media. Now, while this is pretty par for the course, I mean, who wants to look at a bunch of chubby, unfit people on social media? It's actually incredibly insidious. Because when we spend all day looking at the top 0.1% of athletes and bodybuilders, our brains start to look at them like the norm, not an exception. We start to subconsciously think that this is what real gym goers should actually look like, rather than what they really are, a small group of exceptional people. People whose physiques are often artificially enhanced by PEDs, Photoshop, perfect lighting, or even surgery. And when these naturally unattainable physiques become normalized, it's natural that we would start comparing ourselves to them more and more. And it's this constant comparison that leads to many people developing body dysmorphia. And then it's this body dysmorphia that will push people to doing some pretty extreme things in order to try to stack up to what they're seeing online. This is why we're seeing so many teenage guys going on steroids at such a young age nowadays. This is why we're seeing so many girls getting plastic surgery and Botox younger than ever. And this is why we're seeing more people of all genders following extreme diet and training plans, just like Robert Pattinson has done in the past, all in order to live up to these unachievable body standards we find online. Robert has actually spoken out against these unattainable body standards in the past, saying, "I think if you're working out all the time, you're part of the problem. You set a precedent." Now, I actually disagree with Robert here. I think it's very healthy and motivating for people to see hardworking natural lifters make great progress in the gym. It gives you something to aspire to and shows you what's possible through hard work and dedication. The issues only start once people start using artificial methods like PEDs to build their bodies into something that is unattainable naturally. Now, this segues perfectly into the 3 steps that you can take to overcome body dysmorphia, or at least help you get to a much healthier place mentally. Of course, if you are having a really hard time, please please seek professional help. The first thing you should do is unfollow any celebrities or influencers that are fake natties or that heavily Photoshop their photos. Next, start following celebrities or influencers that have transformed their bodies naturally and have attainable physiques, plus bonus points if you can find some that have similar body types to your own. And finally, become comfortable with the fact that making real progress in the gym takes months and years, not days and weeks. Set realistic goals for yourself in the gym and focus on competing with yourself, not anyone else. If you guys are liking the video and you want me to do one about how Batman himself would train if he existed in real life, then leave this video a like, subscribe, and comment Batman training down below. Now, we've talked about the ridiculous fad diets Robert has tried in the past, but what did he do for his diet to prep for the Batman? Well, it was pretty simple. During the early stages of his training, in order to build muscle, he bumped up his calorie intake and protein intake along with cutting out almost all alcohol and putting a limit on the amount of processed and fried foods that he was eating. Then, as the start of filming drew closer, he started to taper back the amount of calories he was eating per day in order to lean down. Now, if you want to get into superhero shape yourself, you need to get your diet dialed in. And that's why I'd like to introduce you to the diet tracking app that has helped me get ripped, called MacroFactor. It's a digital diet coach and nutrition tracking app all in one. If you're using MyFitnessPal, get out of the Stone Ages and give MacroFactor a try. It's not just a place to write down your food. It uses the latest science along with your stats and goals to create for you a personalized diet plan that'll help you achieve your goals in as little time as possible. And along the way, as you track your eating and your body weight changes, it'll adjust your program as needed to make sure that you never plateau. To try it out yourself, download the app using the link in the description of this video, and then use affiliate code DEMERCE for your first 2 weeks free. Now back to the video. Now that's enough about Robert's mental health and diet. Let's get into his training for Batman and how you can build a ripped body of your own at home. There were 3 parts to Robert's Batman training. First, because of the bulk of his resistance training was done during lockdown, he primarily trained at home and at the beach using military-style sandbag workouts, ab training circuits, and other bodyweight movements. Now I know a lot of you want to build an athletic superhero body, but don't have access to the gym or any weights. And I'm happy to say that it's 100% possible to build a great physique at home with zero equipment, but you need to think about one key thing. To build muscle, you need to apply progressive overload to your workouts. This means you need to consistently make your workouts more and more challenging as you become stronger and more fit, so that you're always giving your body a good reason to adapt and grow. This is something that's really easy to do when you're training in the gym, because you can simply increase the weights that you're lifting. But when you're training at home and don't have any equipment, you're gonna have to think outside of the box a little bit more. The 2 best ways of applying progressive overload while training at home are to progress to movements that have you in a less mechanically advantageous position, like going from an elevated push-up to a regular push-up and then to a decline push-up. And the second way is just by simply increasing the number of reps and sets you're doing for each movement. Now, to make things simple for you guys, I've gone ahead and created a full free 3-phase Batman home workout program that you can download at the end of the video after we talk about the rest of Robert's training. The second part of Robert's training was 3 5 to 10K runs each week. Now, of course, this type of cardiovascular work is essential for increasing your athletic performance and general health. But do you need to be doing cardio like this in order to lean down? The honest answer is no. You don't have to do cardio in order to lose fat, but it definitely makes things a lot easier. You can lose all the fat you want by simply restricting the amount of calories that you're eating each day. But as you're losing fat, you'll need to continuously decrease the number of calories you're eating in order to continue to experience fat loss. So it can get to the point where you're eating very little food throughout the day, which definitely is not a good time. But by incorporating some cardio into your routine, you'll be able to burn more calories each day, meaning that you'll be able to enjoy more food while still staying in enough of a calorie deficit to lose weight. And your cardio doesn't have to be anything super intense either. A brisk walk outside or on the treadmill for 20 to 40 minutes a few times a week can do wonders. And finally, the last thing that Robert did for his training for the Batman was he worked with a Brazilian jiu-jitsu master named Regan Machado, who created a jiu-jitsu program specifically designed for celebrities. This is a quote from him talking about this program. "I created a new jiu-jitsu system for people who can't get hurt. It's technical training. They learn jiu-jitsu and technically train, but it's all safe. I created a type of jiu-jitsu for the Beverly Hills clientele. Competition, sparring, these guys can't do that. I can't even take a 1% chance of them getting hurt. I have 18 celebrities doing this program. Some guys have to sign disclosure agreements. Others like Ashton Kutcher and Mickey Rourke come in regularly, while Usher comes in once in a while and Vin Diesel when he's in town. Okay, now go download the full free 3-phase Batman at-home workout training PDF in the link in the description of this video. And if you're looking for something more in-depth, you can also check out my 17-week at-home superhero origins training plan, link also down below. Now go watch my video all about how Christian Bale pulled off the most insane body transformation of all time for Batman Begins.